Hello. Welcome to the 14th part of the I'll be taking a break for personal reasons. At the beginning of this part we see that Yu Wilshin says, I'll also stop holding back then. Gal is really surprised and says, no way. A really big explosion happens. Gal says, I'm sorry. I'll give you the repair fees, so please stop. Yu Wilshin thinks, I got upset and didn't hold back, but he managed to endure it. That armor really must be valuable. Spirit Armor says, my new master. Please take me in. Yu Wilshin thinks it was just talk. Wait, what? He says, you want me to take you in? Spirit Armor says, I can no longer serve this loser as my master. Gal says, Spirit Armor, what's gotten into you? Spirit Armor says, during the last 623 days and 12 hours that you had me in your possession, you only improved by 2%. Given the amount of time, you should have improved by at least 6%. A human like you isn't qualified to be my owner. But he's different. He has a different power, a different talent to him. I'm kinda great. Yeah. Compared to him, you're worth less than the dust floating around in space. I am the successor of the omnipotent AI mother. I have a duty to evolve into a transcendent entity. So please become my new owner. Yu Wilshin. Yu Wilshin says, that's gonna be a bit difficult. Spirit Armor says, then. Yu Wilshin says, don't be mistaken. There's just someone else who would be a better owner than me. His name's Ilho. He fights battles every single day. I think it'll be better for you to serve him as your new owner. Spirit Armor says, I can feel a power similar to the kind I feel from you. He's very strongly connected to you as well. Yu Wilshin says, that's right. Yu Wilshin thinks, I can use his abilities anyway. So I'm sure it'll be better to give it to Ilho since he has to work his ass off every day. Spirit Armor says, I will do as you say. Then goodbye, former owner, Gal Junkyuk. Spirit Armor goes to Ilho. Ilho says, God Yu Wilshin, this is. Yu Wilshin says, it's a gift, Ilho. It should help you overcome the trials. Ilho says, thank you, God Yu Wilshin. I shall do my best. Gal is really confused and surprised. There is a really big hole in the mountain. Someone is watching that on the laptop. They says, this is beyond what I had imagined. He defeated the Spirit Armor Gal Junkyuk so easily. I knew he wasn't an ordinary B-rank hunter. His assistant says, additionally, the Spirit Armor has decided to serve Yu Wilshin as its new owner. He says, what? The world's strongest AI, Spirit Armor? She says, it's certain that his past feat of killing that double S-rank monster was no coincidence, but instead, a result of his true skill. He says, it's definitely possible. Anyway, what are the damages? She says, more than 100 billion won. He says, what? 100 billion? Were any civilians hurt? She says, none. He says, that's good. So where's Yu Wilshin right now? Song Mina says, how hard did you beat him up that an S-rank hunter like him got 3 weeks in the hospital? I got kind of pissed off because he broke down the house. But you're certain that I'll be able to avoid paying the damages? Yu Wilshin says, if I heal him right? She says, yeah, the Hunter Association president said that if you just heal Gal Junkyuk, he'll give you an S-rank license, which grants you the immunity privilege. Yu Wilshin thinks, I almost had to pay 100 billion. I didn't know that S-rank hunters had an immunity privilege. I'll do my best to heal him. Gal is all injured in the hospital. Gal is crying and says, why have you abandoned me, Spirit Armor? Did you like Yu Wilshin that much? Gal says, what's so great about a guy who goes around everywhere in sweats? Come back to me, Spirit Armor. Mina says, what's wrong with him? Yu Wilshin says, I'm wondering the same thing. Yu Wilshin thinks, I feel like he's going to be even more upset if I go in there. I'll just heal him from here. Yu Wilshin says, God's healing ring finger. Gal says, my body. Yu Wilshin says, let's go now, Mina. Mina says, all right. No, stop. Mina says, let's go to the mall. I can't have you going in that outfit. Yu Wilshin says, the mall? Can't have me going where? After that we see a few days later at the Hunter Association. They say, thank you to all who have attended today. Today is a very significant event, an S-rank hunter. Mina says, looks good on you, handsome. Yu Wilshin says, I could have just worn my sweats. Miri says, good job. I was going to get him a pair too. He looks really nice. Mina says, right? I did good, right? Yu Wilshin thinks Mina's acting skills improve every day. She could become a professional actress, but Yu Wilshin thinks, why does that guy keep looking at me? Miri says, that bastard. Yu Wilshin says, do you know him? Miri says, Stephen Choi, he was the one overseeing my S-rank test. He was bragging so much about rejecting a scouting offer from a giant American guild to come to Korea. He kept asking for my number and hitting on me even though I rejected him so many times. He's annoying. What? How dare he? Yuilshin is really angry and says, that garbage. He thinks, this is Stephen Choi's status window? Name, Stephen Choi. Male human, 25 years old. Remark teleporter, a piece of shit and really jealous. Yuilshin thinks, that's quite an interesting remark. Then shall I go say hi? Stephen Choi says, I was excited because I heard that Miri was going to be here. But I didn't even get to sit next to her. Stephen Choi says, the hell? Do you know me? Yuilshin says, of course I do. Stephen Choi says, what? You dare speak to me like I'm your friend. Yuilshin thinks, it's said on his status window. He says, you're Bongsik. Choi Bongsik. Status window appears saying, name, Stephen Choi male human, 25 years old. Remark, teleporter, a piece of shit and really jealous. Abhors his real name, Choi Bongsik, and is very embarrassed by it. Choi Bongsik says, what? How do you know my? He says, we will now begin the S-Class Hunter ceremony. Please take your seats. Stephen Choi and Yuilshin, please come up onto the stage. Stephen Choi says, wait for me after this. Yuilshin says, all right, Bongsik. He says, this machine detects a hunter's MP and is the license of an S-Class. Yuilshin says, we can use this to tell if you're someone fit to be an S-Class. He thinks, I was curious about my mana state. Yuilshin thinks, this is a piece of cake. Capacity meter says, Stephen Choi's maximum mana capacity is 10,050 MP. Someone says, an average S-Class is usually 8,000 and above, but he hit 10,050. As expected of someone like Stephen Choi. I hears that he came back to Korea after rejecting an American Guild scout offer. He thinks, did you see that, you bastard? There's no way you can score higher than me. Capacity meter says, Yuilshin maximum mana capacity 5 MP. Everyone is really surprised and says, only 5? Is he really an S-Class? Shouldn't we cancel his license? Stephen Choi thinks, just 5. I was wondering how powerful he is, but he's the lowest of the low. How embarrassing for him. Yuilshin thinks, it was like this in the academy too. I guess I'll have to use a different method then. Yuilshin uses Skillshare, Ilho. Strong body. Capacity meter says, Yuilshin maximum mana capacity 5,000 MP. 17,000 MP. 26,000 MP. Choi says, what kind of? Yuilshin maximum mana capacity 35,000 MP. Everyone is really surprised and says, 35,000, that's a new record. Hunter Gal Junghyuk got 31,000 when he was wearing the spirit armor. They say, I guess the machine's finally working again. We've now confirmed that you are qualified to be an S-Class. Yuilshin says, remember what you said earlier? Let's meet up after the ceremony, Bongsik. Yuilshin says, I'm tired. He thinks he apologized to me in the end. Just try hitting on Miri again. Looks like a sword phantom and Xiaoming fixed the ceiling. It seemed like they had grown closer together, so I sent them to guard Kongwu. They'll probably get along, right? Yuilshin says, a message from Kongwu. It says, there's going to be an S-Class dungeon in 3 days. The item in there in triple S-Class item called Gotta Balances Scales will be helpful to you. Gotta Balances Scales? I don't know what that is, but since he recommends it, I guess I gotta go get it. Yuilshin says, anyway, let's see what the guys are doing. I need to help them if need be. Yuilshin says, Ilho, you've made it to the 44th floor. System message popped up saying, attempting Warriors Tower 44th floor trial of space and time. Clear condition, save the Great Space Alliance for danger. Yuilshin says, Great Space Alliance? What the hell is that? Since I gave Ilho the spirit armor, I'm sure he'll do well. Yuilshin says, let's take a look at Kraki. What's the skill? System says, shareable skill added, Dragon Awakening Kraki's ultimate Dragon Awakening skill. It threatens even the gods. Try using it. Something interesting will happen. Yuilshin says, what? That skill from back then? That means I can become a dragon? I have to try this out right now. After that we saw the neighboring mountain. Yuilshin says, it shouldn't be a problem here. He uses Skillshare, Kraki, Dragon Awakening. After that we see Stephen Choi's house. Choi says, damn it. How could I have apologized to that parasite of a man? I'll get my revenge. At his watch a warning message appears saying, high threat monster appearance. At least S-Class. Urgent call for reinforcement. Choi says, an S-Class monster? He says, all right, This is my chance to prove that I'm better than him. I'll get there the fastest. I'm the only one in Korea who can teleport, after all. He appears there and says, an S-class monster in the mountains. What? There is monster looking like Crocky. Monster says, Bonksik? Bonksik is really surprised and says, what? How do you know my real name? He thinks, how? Because I'm Yuilshin, Bonksik. He says, Bonksik. Are you going to answer me? Even a dragon is going to call me Bonksik. He says, I was already feeling shitty. You got unlucky. I'm going to let my anger out on Y5OU. He says, what? You're still caught up. Skill teleport. He says, Bonksik, you're just begging to be killed right now, aren't you? Choi says, remember my name before you die. Yuilshin says, bombs? From where? He says, my name is Stephen Choi. A really big explosion happens. Choi says, how's my skill? A monster as big as you is easy to kill. He says, that stung, Choi Bonksik. Choi says, damn it. You didn't die even after all those bombs. Then I'll rain all the bombs I have on you. He says, I said I stings. Quack. He says, Bonksik. Sorry, this is my first time transforming into a dragon, so I couldn't control my strength properly. Some other S-class heroes appear. Yuilshin thinks, I'm screwed. The 14th part of the I'll be taking a break for personal reasons ends here. If you want to see more, please subscribe and like. Thanks for watching.